Welcome back to OFFBounds, everyone. Here's your host, Paula Macaggi, and today I'm back with a solo episode that I've been meaning to do for a long time. Before we dive in, I would like to invite you to get even more value from the conversations we already have here. I want you to check out OFFBounds Intelligence. It is our platform where we turn insights into actionable intelligence for retail operators. There, you can find real signals, real data, real stories that matter for your business, and the link you can find it in the show notes. Our platform identifies the trends that the executives keep telling us, and today we'll talk about 5 trends that are shaping retail in 2026. Here's Paula Macaggi, and this is episode 118 of my show. Welcome to OFFBounds. So the first trend that we're going to talk about is that the store is becoming a sanctuary. The more AI handles the digital layer, the more people crave somewhere that feels completely real. I was at Buckmazon here in New York a few weeks ago, and while their product is incredible, what I really remember is the record player, the sofa, someone telling me about the story, the music, and I stayed there for a lot more than 20 minutes, which was what I planned for. We're living inside this digital experience, I guess, faster, more personalized, more efficient every day, and that is creating a digital fatigue, and people want to disconnect. They want to go somewhere, to be around other people. Brands are investing in these flagship stores that are becoming this third place. Last week, I went to Tecova's flagship here in New York, invited by our friends from Zipline, and I spent hours learning about the brand, the product, their experience, and hospitality as the core of the brand. The store felt like a great place not only to shop but to stay. They even have a full bar ready to serve their customers. I remember many people having their cocktails and whiskeys. It felt like I was in Texas. Jack Stratton from Insider Trends called it perfectly when I sat down with him at the start of the year.
Really go hard on creative ideas that feel analog, handwriting, hand painting, human service. If you're a retailer with stores, push that because that feels premium, right? Human stuff feels premium in the digital age.
Ian Bro, CEO of Mecca, Australia's leading beauty retailer, took this even further. We had this accidental lunch in Singapore after NRF APAC, which is, by the way, where I'm going to be next week. And when I asked him about his emotional intelligence, EQ, over IQ comment from his keynote, he told me the following.
In a world where AI is doing so much more of the thinking work, the thinking is not going to be as valuable as it once was, right? IQ is not going to be as treasured as it has been up until this point. And I think EQ is going to become more treasured. So I think there's going to be more value in having EQ than ever before. When technology is going to become so pervasive in everything that we do, the human interaction is going to become a real luxury. I think the intimacy can only exist between two people connecting deeply.
The best stores right now aren't competing with e-commerce or speed or price. They're giving you a reason to show up in person. M&A opened a store in Paris with coffee at the center. Every person on the floor at Lush London can hand you a free product. People are craving this connection. As AI builds our digital world, the physical world becomes where you go to feel human again. If you have stores, this is your moment. Don't automate the experience, make it more analog and personal. And as always, I have 2 book recommendations for you on this topic. One is called Mattering by Jennifer Wallace. The author, this is such a fascinating book. The author talks about how the connected and frictionless world made us more disconnected from each other. How people are craving being together and what it means to all of us. Very good book. She was at South by Southwest and many good insights, not only for business, but for ourselves too. And then there's another one called The Art and Science of Connection by Casey Killam. What is very interesting about this book is that the author proves that human connection is extremely important for our health, to the point that it makes us all live longer and have less diseases, and that we should take our social health as seriously as mental and physical health. Part of the pyramid of what makes us humans. The second trend is that visual search is quietly changing everything. I actually started to see that in my own behavior, and when I was researching, I realized that it is actually becoming something much bigger. And in these last few weeks, I did it multiple times. While I was scrolling on one of my socials, I saw an interesting product, took a screenshot, pasted it on my ChatGPT, and it told me what it was and the website of the brand to buy it. And full disclosure, I think the first time I did that, I went to the site of the brand, and it didn't work. Like, it was like too much friction, so I bought it on Amazon. But I did end up buying the product. This is one of my changes of behavior as a consumer that I've noticed since AI kind of became a key part of my life. Many of the things that I don't know how to explain, I show to my LLM, and it helps me find what I'm looking for. This is actually, in my view, a lot more interesting than the conversational, contextual commerce we've been talking about since 2023, and there is data to help us understand that. Google Lens processes nearly 20 billion visual searches every month. 20% are shopping related. The fastest growing query type on Google search isn't text, it's an image. On Shop Talk Spring in March this year, the Pinterest CTO said that the organization hits 80 billion monthly searches, and that 60% of weekly Gen Z users go to Pinterest, especially for shop. And here's the one that got me. 39% of Gen Z searches Pinterest before Google. Pinterest. Before Google. We already knew that LLMs are becoming a great tool for product discovery, and all the brands are trying to control their content and narrative to be mentioned by them. But the path of discovery to purchase is becoming a lot harder to track, and the data ownership is starting to get blurry. We do have to pay attention to that. Our third trend is that membership is becoming the new loyalty. And we talked about it in the first episode of this year. I actually pay every year $139 to become a member of Bandit, a running brand here in New York. I am spending more money with them now than almost any other brand that I've ever shopped. What got me to sign up wasn't a discount, it was early access to limited drops. The feeling that I'm part of this New York running community and not just a customer. Jack Stratton, I'm talking about him again, put the right words into this shift.
Membership program is much more like a club. And I think if you look at the ones that are really emerging now, that really define what a membership program is today, they're actually about non-transactional things. That's at the heart. Of course, the brand wants it to lead to transactional things, but the kind of unifying aspects of the program are non-transactional. And that, for me, is the key difference.
A loyalty card usually rewards you for spending, while membership makes you feel like you belong somewhere. Belonging is worth more than a discount. Selfridges has recently launched its private club to their VIP clients, and that I love that they call them the very Selfridges people. And that gives not only the sense of belonging, but exclusivity. The place is called 40 Duke, and those entitled to be part of this members club can bring up to 3 guests any day. And what I think is interesting is that it goes back to the Soho houseification of brands that we talked about on episode 101. The signal here isn't the transaction, it's the presence. Noah Goldberg runs PC Optimum, Canada's largest loyalty program with 16 million members. Even he's thinking about this next wave.
As agentic commerce makes its way more and more into our everyday lives, I think it's going to be a foregone conclusion that you say, not just like build my grocery basket and have it shipped to me, but like build my grocery basket, make sure that I'm getting the most points possible.
That's such a good point.
Right? I think that's where the conversational or agentic commerce is going to come in.
So what I mean is that the traditional loyalty program, the one that lives in a points balance you never check, is running out of road. What wins is either real membership, where people feel genuinely invested, or a program sophisticated enough to work alongside AI agents. The brands that figure this out now will be in a very different position in 2 years. Trend 4 is that AI is not only a tool, but actually the infrastructure, not a feature. Every brand now has an AI pilot. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about businesses built around AI as a core operating system, like our new OFFBounds. The most extreme examples I've seen came from Dingdong Fresh in China. I sat down with Xiaoming Yang. He is the VP. Actually, he was the VP. He's in another position now. And I talked to him in Singapore. Dingdong Fresh has over 1,000 dark stores and food waste at 1.5%, while the industry average is 30%. I asked him how that was even possible.
Every dark store will have about 3,000 to 4,000 SKUs. And considering we have more than 1,000 dark stores, so that's a combination about 4 to 5 million, right? Each SKU in each store, okay? And in the past, the store manager will do, okay, I need how many apples, how many bananas, how many veg for tomorrow, right? And then key in, make it Excel file and multiply a certain percentage. That's how they do it. But in our company, the computer does it. And we have connections with, let's say, with the weather forecast. That tomorrow is a rainy day. There's a typhoon. It's a public holiday. It's Dragon Boat Festival. We need more dumplings for people. Then in every store, how many dumplings more than yesterday? It is decided, it's calculated by AI. No one can make 5 million calculations every day, but computers can. That is how we do it.
Companies treating AI as one more tool in the stack will possibly fall behind. The ones building AI into how they actually make decisions like replenishment, personalization, media activation are actually setting the new baseline. If your customer has an AI agent building their basket, finding products, comparing prices, that agent needs to find you. Xiaoming told me Dingdong already redesigned their app this year specifically for this. Not for human browsing, but for the agent experience. He mentioned in the episode about tags, quality labels, so that when someone tells their AI to build them a healthy grocery basket, Dingdong Fresh shows up. He ended our conversation with something I keep thinking about.
No matter you like it or not, AI is the future. Just like, in my opinion, my feeling is AI to the impact of AI, just like internet 30 years ago appeared, right? And computer 60 years ago, now it is AI. So imagine how big the impact of computer and internet reshape the world.
And you don't really have to go to China to find this. Peter Lisner runs strategy at Rolex Group, Europe's largest online grocer with fully automated warehouses, robotic picking, and software building house with 70,000 orders a day. And when I asked him at the end of the episode what separates the retailers who win from those who fall behind, he didn't hesitate.
The retailers that take the first mover advantage in AI will be benefiting, and the ones that are going to be slow will have a tough time catching up to the ones that actually jump on this opportunity.
Dingdong Fresh in China, Rolex in Europe, different markets, different models, same fundamental bet. The company is building AI into how they actually operate as setting the new baseline, and our bet is that you will keep seeing more and more of this moving forward. Not only businesses getting more efficient because of it, but having the actual value proposition existing from it. And our last trend is that your people are your less real competitive advantage. I hate seeing that as a trend, but it feels like we are going back to the roots of retail to remind us that investing in our people never goes wrong. I was in London last year and I went to Lululemon on Regent Street and I had a fantastic time trying new products, and of course it's been more than planned, and thanks to an associate who really took care of me. I was in London last year and I went to Lululemon on Regent Street and I had a fantastic time trying new products, and of course it's been more than planned, and thanks to an associate who really took care of me. I still remember the name of the person who helped me in the fitting room. And this is great to show that not everything comes from a great technology outcome, but actually people outcome. Ron Thurston spent 30 years leading teams at Apple, Gap, Tory Burch, and he said something every retail executive needs to hear.
If you're not comfortable having a conversation with a stranger, potentially hundreds of times a day, think of an Apple store, then this is not your business. And your ability to create that every day with strangers is the most beautiful part of retail. I don't care what you sell. It's the best part of retail.
And he brought up something else that keeps coming back to me. Everything we know about this industry is influenced by what happens in the store. If we do that with intention and with really proud teams, you will win. April Sabral, 30 years in retail as well, leadership across Starbucks, Banana Republic, David's Tea, made a point that sounds simple, but very hard to actually do when I ask her about store leaders.
They think about people, not just process. So they think about how they get their people trained up to take on the operational tasks, and they approach it from a perspective of how skilled are my team to be able to do things when I'm not around. The leaders that take a step back and say, who on my team can learn and grow from this moment? Those are the leaders that I've seen that do the best.
As AI takes over more of the digital layer, the human on the floor becomes more differentiated, not less. The things that I cannot do, and I mean the warmth, the read, the moment that makes us customers feel genuinely seen, become more valuable as everything else gets automated. The stores winning right now have incredible teams, not just trained teams that are proud to be there, and they should be equipped with the right tools, but building that brand pride, that's the hardest thing to build, which is exactly why it is the biggest competitive advantage you have. Those are my 5 trends in retail that we got from our episode, and I actually feel they are very related, especially when we talk about people, stores, connection, and community. And automation and product discovery online is actually for what our screens are for the convenience and visibility of assortment. The fast and the slow of retail will coexist. It all goes back to the philosophy of being where your customer is. And I actually think we are about to enter an era of personal agents being part of all the steps of the consumer journey, as they will know more and more about us. But that's the topic for another episode. As the digital world gets faster and more automated, the things that feel irreducibly human, like showing up in a space, belonging to something, being helped by someone who really cares, become more valuable. If you want to dive deeper into any of these trends, we track all of this and more on our OFFBounds intelligence. Real signals from real retailers, turning into actionable insights for your business. Check it out, and I'd love to know which of these you were thinking more about. And if you want to reach out, come find me on LinkedIn. I read everything. If you're new here, this is OFFBounds. Every week, I sit down with people shaping the future of retail. And for the next 2 weeks, we'll dive deeper into agentic commerce. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. See you next Tuesday.